I'm writing this after most of the script has been done, but I realized that I hadn't put forward a spoiler warning for the movie Stargate this whole time. I've been working on the video and script for months now, and only right at this very moment I thought of putting up a spoiler alert for people who hadn't seen the movie. So, firstly, before the video starts, here's a spoiler alert for the rest of the video and the movie, but the movie is 30 years old now, so you had plenty of time to watch it. Secondly, I'd like to apologize for the ending. I've never been terribly good at ending things, be it videos, stories, essays, scripts, streams. They've always seemed to me a little bit awkward and abrupt, and in the process of writing this script and making this video, I low-key went a little bit insane, rewatching the movie multiple times to write the notes, and by the end, I just didn't know how to end it all, so sorry about that. But with that out of the way, let's get right into it. I love TV shows. I love the narrative structure in TV shows. I love the extra time you spend with characters over the episodes. I love the opening themes. I love the little cliffhangers before an ad break, like those at the end of a tense chapter. I love TV shows. And TV shows have been such a massive formative part of my life and my writing that almost all my story ideas are visualized as if they are part of a TV show. I'm currently writing a web novel about a character stuck in a TV show, and right about now you're probably wondering why I've spent so much time in this intro to talk about TV shows when you've read the title of the video and know that the subject of this video is actually about a movie. That is because this movie was the origin of an extremely influential TV show, not just for me, but for the whole landscape of sci-fi television fiction. Today, we're talking about the 1994 cult classic sci-fi action-adventure film and the start of a whole damn fantastic franchise, Stargate. Now, seeing as apparently as of April 14, 2023, it was announced that MGM, what's left of them anyway, were planning on rebooting their franchises, including Stargate. I thought it's probably the best time to rewatch the whole damn adventure again, right from the beginning. Actually, that's a lie. I've had this idea to rewatch TV shows that I grew up loving and make a video similar in style like Hausenberg films on YouTube and the whole I read/watched X so you don't have to kind of videos. If you hadn't heard of Hausenberg films, you should look him up. He's really cool, and I'm currently watching through his every episode of The Walking Dead supercut bit by bit. It's a long video. But anyway, okay. Now, with all that out of the way, let's actually begin. Now, if you're living in Australia, like me, you can actually watch this pure joy on film on Prime Video, which is very cool. But for some reason, you can't watch the rest of the franchise on Prime Video because it's technically part of an MGM streaming service that is connected to Prime Video. I looked up all the other ways to watch the series, SG-1 mostly because that's the first series in the franchise, and you can only buy or rent it on Apple TV and Google Play Movies. It's a bunch of bullshit, that is. Luckily, my family owns all 10 seasons on DVD, and I splurged and got this external DVD drive precariously caked in dust on top of my computer, so I'm all set. But hang on, we have to start with the movies first. I keep getting distracted. Point is, if you have Prime Video, you're in luck, you can just watch the movie, which is what I did. Keep in mind that almost all my family members adore this franchise, and specifically my mother and one of my brothers almost go on a yearly rewatch of the series, not including the movie. For me though, it takes me a bit longer to get the longing to rewatch the franchise, so it shouldn't come as a shock to you that it's been nearly 9 years since I watched this movie last. All I remembered about it was James Spader and Kurt Russell were in the movie, and quite a lot of the movie gets retconned/rewritten in the series. Now, you might be a bit hesitant to get into the movie/franchise after hearing that the origin movie gets retconned quite a bit, but believe me, almost all the changes, if not all, are for the better and add to the quality of the franchise in total. Okay, I've stalled a bit, gushing about this movie and franchise, so I should probably start recapping the movie now. Random note, I've just noticed that on Prime Video it says that the movie was released in 1995, even though both the movie's Wikipedia and the franchise's fandom pages listed its release date as October 28, 1994. I realised that it was released in Australia on February 16, 1995, so that's probably why the Australian Prime Video page listed it as that year. Okay, before we start, I have to say that the version that is available on Prime that I'm using as the basis of this video is slightly different to the version in the Ultimate Edition DVD. The Ultimate Edition DVD added and or changed several scenes that were not present in the theatrical release, which is on Prime Video, so I won't be talking about those scenes yet. Instead, I'll list those scenes later on in the video. As the usual studio logos and all the production credits shiz, we get to hear the main musical motif of the movie. The melody that plays as the Stargate logo appears on the screen during the opening credits is the melody used for the theme song of Stargate SG-1. This was a great idea by the production team of the show to keep that sense of continuity between the movie and the TV show. This extended track is such a beautiful piece of music that brings the viewer in with intrigue as the camera pans over extreme close-ups of intricate-looking stonework, of something we have yet to fully comprehend. The sharp, short, high notes of the strings give a sense of mystery and intrigue, whilst also dabbling in a little bit of that sense of apprehension and danger. However, underneath all that intrigue, apprehension, and mystery, especially after the main theme melody starts, the strings ensemble, and even that simple bum, 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 three-note pattern of short bass notes add that heroic, adventurous sense that is so warm and exciting, and yet has that little bit of whimsy as well before shifting once again to a menacing marching motif. The use of the male choir vocals as well as the horns gives the track this almost oppressive feeling. It gets you excited and a little bit scared of what's going to happen next. In fact, the music in this opening sequence essentially tells you what the movie is going to be without saying anything. From this opening track alone, you already know that the movie is going to be a fun adventure surrounded by a mystery and a danger that we have yet to find out, but we already want to find out. It is such a terrific opening track, and the reveal that this thing that we've been looking at up close this whole time was actually a slow pan camera move over Ra's Musk in all its creepy, ancient glory, while the track crescendos and climaxes in this high-intensity choral performance as the percussion and horns accentuate the vocals. It gives me actual goosebumps every time I listen to this song. Though David Arnold, the composer for the movie, does not come back for SG-1, his excellent work is such a huge inspiration to the soundtrack of SG-1 the show as a whole. Okay, sorry, enough gushing. I didn't want this video to be this in-depth analysis of everything in the movie, but I just wanted to kind of show you that I am coming at this movie from the point of view that I absolutely adore this movie and some of the choices that the filmmakers make. So don't hate me when I also say that I believe this movie is both one of my most favorite movies ever made, as well as a spectacular example of a B-grade movie, because at the end of the day, Stargate is a B-grade movie. I mean, a B-grade movie with the best production value ever, but we'll get into that when we get into it. Point is, I love the movie. My family loves the movie, and especially one of my brothers, Daniel, he loves analyzing this movie. I'm not too big on analyzing things too deeply, much to the chagrin of Daniel, but I have had many in-depth conversations with my family, especially Daniel, analyzing stories like this movie and the show, and though this video is not going to be that, I hope, if you want to see more discussion-type videos about TV shows and movies like Stargate, Daniel has suggested that we record live watches of the show to include in future videos, because we pause and just chat a lot about the production, interpretations, and thoughts of the stuff that we watch like this often. This video is not going to be that. I plan on it being a bit of a sort of primer of the more in-depth stuff later on. I just find myself on in-depth tangents sometimes because I like talking about the stuff I like. Also, I forgot that Roland Emmerich directed this movie and he also co-wrote it, which is insane to me. And at first I was like, isn't he the guy who did Independence Day? And then a moment later on in the movie happened and I knew I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll point it out when we get to it. Anyway, after all that, here we go. After that banger of an opening that shows that even though Stargate is a B-grade movie, it's so well produced, right? We find ourselves in Giza, Egypt in 1928. We meet a young girl named Catherine, who seems to be somewhat important, and a professor who we assume is her father. They have uncovered something in the Giza desert. The interpreter is excited about the big surprise. We see that they have uncovered a huge rock cartouche. Cartouche is such a fun sounding word. And even though they repeat the word in the series, I still don't know what it means, so let me look it up quickly. An oval or oblong figure, as on ancient Egyptian monuments, enclosing characters that represent the name of a sovereign. Neat. Oh, I don't even remember watching this part, even when I rewatched it recently to take notes for the script. Apparently Catherine's father is Swedish? That's why she has an accent later on in the movie? Huh. We see that the cartouche is a cover stone, and from the size and shape of it, it was covering something big and circular. A gate of some sort? Wink wink. We see a group of people lift up this massive circular stone structure, obviously the titular Stargate, using ropes. It's an iconic visual shot that we get to see multiple times in the series. It's pretty cool. This whole sequence is the very first time we see the astounding production value that this movie had. It only had a budget of approximately $55 million, and through the smart usage of practical effects and sets, it just feels bigger, better than $55 million. And though there is a smart usage of CG when required, some moments hadn't aged well, and the fact that the movie uses so many practical effects and real-life props and sets just does so much heavy lifting in making the movie look better. Like, look at how massive this thing is. You just can't help but be impressed by the sense of scale. The looks of wonder, except for young Catherine a little bit. The looks of wonder from the characters as they look at the size of the Stargate seem real because they probably were real. They were looking at a real prop that was that huge right in front of them. In my notes at this point, I make the point that the choral work, the choir performances that are part of the soundtrack are hauntingly beautiful, and they rightly continue to use that in the series. We cut to the present day, where we see an old Catherine making her way through a bougie academic building, and we hear a discount TED Talk / Ancient Aliens live taping by a Dr. Daniel Jackson, played by the wonderfully talented James Spader.
The pyramid, the most incredible structure ever erected, there are no writings whatsoever.
From this point on, I will be just calling Daniel Jackson DJ because it's easier. But okay, listen to his talk and try to tell me that this doesn't sound like the kind of crazy stuff conspiracy theorists claim is true nowadays.
Dr. Jackson, you've left out the fact that Colonel Weiss discovered Quarryman's inscriptions of Khufu's name within the pyramid.
Well, his discovery was a fraud.
Well, I hope you can prove it.
What with all the staircase for giants bullshit on TikTok and all that, I'm surprised that nobody from that field of content creation hasn't jumped on this yet. Also, I made this note here, James Spader with hair and young. And Daniel, who was also watching this movie with me, said, seems like he's getting blacklisted by archaeological academia. Must be rough on him. DJ is asked who he thinks built the pyramids. And I find it funny that this one guy jokingly answers men from Atlantis.
I don't have any idea who built them. I mean, that's men from Atlantis?
Because that is technically the first mention of the ancients and Atlantis in the universe. But we'll get back to it in more detail once we hit Season 8 of SG-1. There'll be lots of mythology to gobble up until then. Everybody that had been listening to DJ up to this point decided to leave like the rowdy high school class when a brand new casual relief teacher fails to control the classroom. And the way that James Spader plays the pitiful nature of early Stargate Daniel Jackson is so great here.
Is there a lunch or something that everybody...
DJ is pitiful, but not annoying. He's very likable as a character and works really well as the audience surrogate for the movie, even though he's only one half of the main cast. DJ is approached by Catherine, who offers him a job translating some mysterious Egyptian hieroglyphs. At first, he's cautious since Catherine seemed to be working with the Air Force and she somehow already knew everything about him, like how he had foster parents, he's now homeless, and how when he's de-stressing he likes to watch a YouTuber named KittyW25 who is as obsessed about TV shows as he is about ancient aliens. Not that last one. And although he turns down the job opportunity, when he learns that he gets the chance to prove his theories were right, he accepts the job. Not verbally, but you can see it in his eyes.
Want to prove that your theories are right? This is your chance.
That he can't help but accept the job. He has his pride as a scholar to protect, of course. Before we get more info on what the job is, we cut to another location and an Air Force vehicle parks in front of a seemingly normal suburban house. Let's not ignore the fact that the passenger opens the door before the car fully stops, and he is obviously not wearing a seatbelt. I know people who are part of the Air Force are considered brave, but pretty sure not wearing seatbelts is just plain stupid. I make myself laugh sometimes, and the note I wrote for this scene is, Air Force guys go to suburb, sad house, sad music. This part of the movie is pretty dark, and is a serious subject matter, where the debate about gun safety has only gotten more tense in the more recent years, and is a major part of O'Neill's backstory. I believe that the way the movie handled the subject matter is really well done, and since SG-1 is a direct continuation of the movie, we get to see more of this traumatic event in O'Neill's life in episodes like Cold Lazarus and The Devil You Know. But back to the movie. Through what I wrote aptly as sad music, you know that something is wrong with a seemingly normal suburban house. The contrast between the Air Force soldiers who speak in full sentences and Sarah O'Neill who respond in cold, short, abrupt answers.
Yes?
Do you think we might be able to speak with him?
You can try.
And Colonel Jack O'Neill's complete silence is beautiful.
Excuse me, Colonel O'Neill. We're from General West's office. Sir, we're here to inform you that you've been reactivated.
O'Neill's sitting in his son's room holding a gun is such a tragic visual. And I believe that the intention of O'Neill hiding the gun underneath the blankets in this scene is to show that his son was everything to him. And now that his son is gone, there's not really anything in the world for him anymore. I believe this is the case, as we get scenes later in the movie that seem to reflect the same message, but I'll talk more about that when we get to those scenes. Anywho, the Air Force soldiers announce themselves to be from a General West's office, and they inform O'Neill that he has been reactivated, which I guess is the official name for reinstating a soldier back into the field. Unfortunately, after such a wonderful sequence, to ensure that people understand O'Neill's key characteristic, we then get the two Air Force soldiers expositing the information that we have just been shown.
You guys a mess. How'd he get like that? His kid died. Accidentally shot himself.
O'Neill's son, Tyler, accidentally shot himself with a gun. I mean, fair enough, since, you know, it's such an important piece of character lore for O'Neill, but I can't help but imagine that in a perfect world, this scene would not have been required. Anyway, the movie is 2 hours long, and we've only passed the 10-minute mark, so I gotta keep on moving. We see establishing shots of a military installation within Creek Mountain, Colorado. Now, one of the retcons in the series is that instead of Creek Mountain, the Stargate is housed within Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado Springs, Colorado. And according to Gate World, Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station was a real military base, and they had a door labeled Stargate Command during the recording of the series, though the door only led to a broom closet, but I think that's a pretty cool mention. We come back to the DJ as he is cleared to enter the military installation, and we are introduced to another pitying aspect of his character, his travel allergies that cause him to have comically violent sneezes.
What happens when I travel?
I believe they soft retconned this character trait in the series after the first season because it stopped being an important character trait. I understand where they're coming from for the allergies trait though, as it is another way to make DJ seem so out of place, especially when surrounded by the serious Air Force soldiers as an audience surrogate. But as the series kept going, DJ becomes accepted and integral to the operation, and since viewers had more and more time with the characters and the universe, the audience surrogate is not needed as heavily. We quickly meet this unknown woman and a Dr. Gary Myers. He's got a funny face and a funny voice, so it's a shame that he'll probably only appear in the movie. Oh yeah, and her name is Barbara Shaw, apparently. Okay. They bring DJ to the laboratory, and DJ gets to meet the massive cartouche. And like in the 1928 sequence, the fact that they made a physical prop for this scene is so awesome. Like I said earlier, it makes the world seem more real. The interactions with the actors with the world seem more real. Look at the awe in Spader's eyes when he sees it. Not only is he such a great actor, it's just really cool.
Well, the translation of the inner track is wrong. Must have used Budge. I don't know why they keep reprinting his books.
Excuse me. What are you doing? We've used every known technique.
It's a curious word to use, eh, Keve?
Yeah.
Then adverbial, Sigimenev, I'll.
This short interaction between Myers and DJ is so funny, but it also shows you how brilliant DJ is. It's just that nobody is listening to him. As soon as he sees the translation on the blackboard, he can tell that it's wrong and seemingly accurately corrects the translation, naming the Stargate the Stargate. Yeah, I didn't want to keep calling it the round ring, so I revealed that it was Stargate way earlier, but that kind of ruined the he said the thing moment.
Is Stargate.
He said it! He said it!
Anyway, then DJ and O'Neill meet each other, and since I've watched the series and I know what the two characters' dynamic with each other evolves into, I absolutely loved the fact that their first interaction with each other is a disagreement. DJ asking why the military is interested in a 5,000-year-old England... DJ asking why the military is interested in the 5,000-year-old Egyptian tablets, while O'Neill says, oh, they're actually 10,000 years old.
Well, so why is the military so interested in 5,000-year-old Egyptian tablets?
My report says 10,000.
Now, if you know a little bit about the ancient Egyptian empire, you know that 10,000 years is way too old for something to be in the ancient Egyptian empire, which adds more intrigue and mystery to the whole cartouche and Stargate situation. After shoring up some... because the character's name is short. After shoring up some knowledge from his colleague, DJ gets to see the Stargate for the first time. Well, no, not yet. Catherine first checks why the Air Force has decided to take over the operation, and O'Neill cryptically says that he's there in case she succeeds. Succeeds in what, you may ask? We'll get around to it. We skip ahead to 2 weeks later, and DJ is still struggling to figure out what the non-hieroglyph middle section of the cartouche means. And from the quick shot that we get to see of the middle section of the cartouche, we can see that the etchings are more angular and sharp compared to what we now know as ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. And the way that DJ works out what these mysterious symbols mean is really organic, and I like it. Here, take a look. We then see a bunch of important military people arrive for DJ's presentation, and he reveals that he has translated the mysterious symbols. They were not words, they were actually star constellations. It's a nice moment to show how brilliant DJ really is, because he really did solve everything. Once again, DJ's awkwardness during the meeting is played so well by Spader. You just can't help but be sympathetic to him without making the character annoying.
So you think you've solved in 14 days what they couldn't solve in 2 years?
2 years?
Anytime.
I have some stuff to look at. You just pass them down. You'll have to share them because I'm sorry I don't have enough of those. But anyway, okay. All right, we're obviously looking at a picture of the cover stones. Now, on the outer track, these figures that you would believe to be words to be translated were, in fact, star constellations. Now, these constellations were placed in a unique order, forming a map or an address of sorts. 7 points to outline a course to a position. And to find a destination within any three-dimensional space, we need 6 points to determine an exact location.
You said you needed 7 points.
Well, no, 6 for the destination. But to chart a course, you need a point of origin.
This is the moment when DJ finally gets to see the device he got to name, the Stargate, and it is such an iconic shot. And I'm saying it again, the fact that the gate is a physical prop just gives the movie this tactile feeling of realness. Every time it is on screen, it just gives me a sense of joy. An interesting change with the Stargate in the series is that the chevrons on the gate light up orange when they're engaged, which makes it a little bit more exciting on the eyes, but can we just admire the fact that the inner part of the Stargate spins? The practical smoke effects as they power up the Stargate in the sequence is so cool and feels real. I hate the fact that I'm always talking about things being real, but it's true. You wouldn't get this sensation if the gate was CG. And as a side note, the Stargate in Atlantis and Stargate Universe were CG, but I believe they hid it and explained the different looks really well. If the reboot opts for a CG gate, I'm afraid I might mold. As the gate is powering up, Catherine reveals that the gate is made from a mineral that cannot be found on Earth, which adds that extra layer of mystery and intrigue without telling the viewer, aliens! It's really cool and smooth at its universe building. Let's cut to the money shot, and before I say anything more, it's best that you see how amazing this looks. Look at it. It's beautiful. When I first saw this shot, I was like that guy with the pencil. I don't think I have the words to do it justice. Though slightly too fast and underwhelming at the very beginning, something that they improve in SG-1, the beauty of the water-like event horizon of the gate still holds up quite well to this day. A retcon that they did for SG-1 was they removed the strudel, as Roland Emmerich called it, which is that whirlpool effect at the back of the Stargate, which is a shame. But they do have a similar strudel formation appear in an episode called A Matter of Time and attribute to it to the fact that the gate was linked to a black hole. All in all, still very cool imagery. Let's continue with the movie though. The military boys send a probe and it successfully is transferred to the Kalium galaxy, and Catherine tells DJ that the Kalium galaxy is on the other side of the known universe.
It's on the other side of the known universe.
This fact is retconned in SG-1 to better manage the many, many adventures of the series, moving the planet, which is only named in SG-1 as Abydos, to be within the Milky Way galaxy. It's not until Season 8 of SG-1 and the backdoor pilot of Stargate Atlantis that the idea of moving to a different galaxy is revisited. And then, in Stargate Universe, that the other side of the known universe is reintroduced as a location. In my opinion, the retcon is smart and is a more responsible and manageable scope increase for the franchise to take. Because where do you go after you go to the other side of the universe? The gate suddenly disconnects, and they only get a few frames of footage from the probe data, and the military boys work out that the two Stargates act as doorways to connect both worlds. Part of the probe data also showed that there is an atmospheric match between Earth and the alien planet, and DJ noticed that the markings on the alien Stargate don't match the markings on Earth's Stargate, which makes a lot of sense if those markings are supposed to be star constellations. That discovery makes the military boys be a little bashful though, as they don't have anyone smart enough in the Air Force to be part of the necessary recon mission. The soldiers would be trapped on the alien planet without the ability to translate the new star constellations and dial back to Earth. And DJ is like, bros, I'm right here.
Based on this new information, I don't see how we can do that.
Well, I could do that.
Okay, we're currently at page 9 of my script and only 25 minutes into the movie, so I'm going to have to start speedrunning the events just to save my sanity as well as yours. Nothing much happens after the military boys decide to include DJ into the recon mission, and as sad as it is to say goodbye to the other scientists, bye Myers, hope we see you again soon. The only important moment to the plot is that Catherine gives DJ her personal good luck amulet that she found near the Stargate when it was discovered when she was a little girl. The amulet has the Eye of Ra inscribed on it, and DJ promises to bring it back to her after the recon mission succeeds. A heavy theme in this film is finding where you belong, and nothing accentuates the beginning of that theme, finding out that you don't belong, than this moment in the movie.
If anybody has anything to say, now's the time to say it.
Like I said earlier, back in page 6, that as DJ feels like he belongs more and more as part of the SG-1 team, they take away certain character traits that was originally given to make him feel out of place, like the allergies, though in this section in the movie, this was comedy gold. When they see O'Neill and his soldier boys step through the gate, it's just cool. That's all I can say. Yeah, they change and solidify the rules of gate travel in SG-1, but when you think of the movie as a fun prototype, as a pilot, extended pilot of the series, it's easy to just roll with the changes when you watch SG-1, since a lot of things change between a pilot episode and the second episode of a TV show after the TV show is called to a series. They do keep the traveling graphics, though they shorten the clip depending on how packed an episode is. They arrive on the alien planet Abydos and find themselves in the dark depths of a temple of some sort. They make their way out of the temple cautiously and find themselves on an alien desert planet. Oh, this moment here shows a circular vent looking thing on the roof. It comes up later. I missed it during my first watching with Daniel since I was probably writing notes. The absolute scale of this entrance set that they had on location, it seems, it's like the literal practical prop of the Stargate just adds to the sense of scale of the movie. The fact that it's basically just a B-grade movie with this production value just boggles my mind. Once they're outside, they realize that they really are on an alien planet. The shot of the 3 planetary bodies is so simple, yet so effective. The recon mission of a quarter-mile perimeter is quickly finished, and this odd moment happens.
Wrap this up, get everybody back inside. I want all you people back through the Stargate within the hour.
You're coming with us, aren't you, Colonel? Sir?
What's that all about? We'll find out later. O'Neill gets mad that DJ needs more time to figure out how to realign the Stargate and dial back to Earth, forcing the soldier boys to set up a base camp near the temple.
Just get back in there and reestablish contact.
Well, it's not that easy. This is a replica of the Great Pyramid of Giza. We're not going to find any hieroglyphic inscriptions or carved relief. I mean, we really need to look around.
Your job here is to realign the Stargate. Can you do that or not?
I can't.
You can't or you won't.
I can decipher the symbols on the Stargate, but I need an order of alignment. Now, those coordinates were marked on tablets back on Earth, and there must be something like that here. And I just need to find it.
Find it? What do you mean, find it? You didn't say anything about finding anything.
Well, I assumed the tablets would be here. I mean, right here.
You assumed.
You're a lying son of a bitch! You didn't say a word about finding anything!
This turn of attitude that O'Neill and the soldier boys have kinda seem out of left field. Like, DJ explained it quite well when he says that he needs to find something to give him the order of alignment for the constellations. The Stargate on Earth had the cartouche, and so he needs to find something similar for the one on Abydos. So the soldier boys acting like assholes to DJ in this scene feels forced and unnecessary. While this is happening, we see O'Neill obviously set up a nuke, though it seems like his soldier boys don't know this part of the recon mission. This, and the odd moment at 33 minutes 40 seconds.
You're coming with us, aren't you, Colonel?
That one, both hint at the suicidal motives that O'Neill has after his son died. Anyway, poor DJ, as he's picking up his books, he notices a creature in the distance. This alien creature is so nasty in a good way, with its mucus and icky fluids, and I believe that it's never mentioned in the film, and it never appears in the series, though the show does revisit Abydos several times during its run. Actually, I just looked it up in the wiki, and apparently the creature is called a mastage. It was probably talked about in a novelization of the film, which I haven't read yet. In a very late 90s, early noughties sequence, DJ is dragged by the mastage through the dunes when DJ accidentally touched it the wrong way. Bad touch, bad touch. This sequence is played as adventure-ic and comical, but realistically, that would probably be an easy way to die in the desert. I also feel like the sequence is too long and could have been trimmed a bit, though now that I'm thinking about it, it's giving me heavy Star Wars vibes, so maybe that's why they included it. So far, I've mentioned the total runtime of 2 hours a couple of times, and for the most part, the movie doesn't feel like it drags. But a couple of sequences, like the mastage drag, kinda does go on for too long. It doesn't completely ruin the pacing of the movie, it's kinda nitpick on my end. As always though, great music. After catching up with the mastage, O'Neill and some of his soldier boys notice outposts near a mountain cliff that is being mined by the native inhabitants of the alien planet. Some of the natives, humans, notice them, and out of curiosity, the Earth boys start to approach the natives cautiously. A native notices DJ wearing Catherine's amulet, the Eye of Ra amulet, and all the natives bow down in respect, even those in the mines in the distance. O'Neill attempts to introduce himself to a young man, Skara, with a handshake, but Skara panics and runs away. Soon, the leader of the natives, Kasuf, I'll go with Kasuf, arrives and greets DJ and the soldier boys like they're deities and gifts them a drink. As thanks, DJ gives Kasuf a chocolate bar. I laughed when I watched this scene because Eric Avari, the guy who plays Kasuf, eats the chocolate bar in such a weird and funny way. He's awesome. I like him. I hope he comes back. Oh, the woman that gives DJ the drink? I'm not sure if the movie explains it, but she's Kasuf's daughter, and she is really pretty. Look at her eyes. I also hope she returns for SG-1. Okay, I'm going on tangents again. Let's try speedrunning again. After this meeting, Kasuf brings DJ and the soldier boys to their city. Along the way, DJ sneezes a lot cause allergies, and this funny moment happens. And as usual, when they enter the city, the sets in this movie are just astounding. The production value, man, the production value. In the city, our soldier boys see that a carving of the Eye of Ra is hung up in the air like a flag or something, and the natives once again bow. DJ works out that the natives believe that the soldier boys were sent by Ra. A horn blows, and before they know it, a sandstorm hits the city, and we see that the sandstorm also caused the team that stayed by base camp to abandon the base camp and move back into the temple. We get the usual eat alien foods with the natives sequence, but when DJ tries to communicate to them, the natives react negatively to his attempts of writing on the sand, and instead DJ is whisked away to be washed and enters a private tent. The young woman who gave him, I assume, some water, then enters the tent, and DJ, bless his innocent heart, didn't realize what was happening until she starts to undress in front of him. Don't worry, YouTube, nothing is shown in the movie. It's not Children of the Gods. You know, there was no full frontal nudity that was forced upon the creators by the network. For fear of offending Kasuf and the natives, DJ is stuck in the tent with a young woman who introduces herself as Shauri. Shauri, which is a bit of a difficult name to say, as it is almost 3 syllables. Hope they simplify the name later. Now, Shauri is a little bit of a bad girl, and when DJ attempts to communicate to her through drawing in the sand, she responds and draws the symbol for Earth. She then leads DJ to show him where she's seen the symbol. While the base camp soldier boys are chucking a tanty about being stuck in the temple starts to shake violently, and we see an unknown spaceship approach the pyramid temple. It was at this point that I realized that Roland Emmerich did in fact work on Independence Day, because the spaceship is an immaculate piece of miniature work. It even lights up and everything. The quality of the YouTube video and my limitations don't do it justice, so go and watch the movie in HD to see all of its glory. It's so good, and it's aged so well. The base camp soldier boys are rounded up by a mysterious force, and this reveal of Anubis' soldier is actually pretty sick. After that awesome tense sequence, we cut back to the city and O'Neill and Skara bond some more. Skara seems to be obsessed with O'Neill's laughter and even attempts to smoke like O'Neill, though that doesn't end well. It's a really nice moment where O'Neill seemingly lightens up and connects with someone who obviously sees him as a male role model, as a father figure, even if they don't speak the same language. The way Skara watches and studies O'Neill is earnest and innocent. He knows instinctively that O'Neill seemed to be a strong warrior, and as a young man who's still growing up and has obvious aspirations to be a strong warrior, Skara wants to be like O'Neill. He sees O'Neill as a mentor, while for a split second, it seems like O'Neill is seeing Skara as a mentee, almost like a son. That's why, I believe, when Skara tries to hand back the lighter, O'Neill instead decides to gift it to him. So when Skara, still studying O'Neill, reaches for O'Neill's gun, O'Neill is abruptly reminded about his son's tragedy, and not wanting another innocent young man, boy even, to die from a gun, he scares Skara away. That trauma still fresh in his soul. So much is conveyed in the scene, and the scene works so well in developing O'Neill's character journey throughout this movie. We cut back to Showery. I hate writing her name. This is how it's spelled, and it's annoying as. We cut back to Showery and DJ as she shows him the ancient cave drawings that had Earth's symbol. DJ, in his genius, starts to translate it as he recognizes that it's an ancient Egyptian dialect. And through his mutterings, Showery recognizes some words, and using the cave drawings and their ancient Egyptian counterpart and comparing it with Showery's responses, DJ creates a short and sweet library of words on the go.
Neda.
Neda.
Tio.
Tio. Necher? Necheru? Necheru?
Nate. Naturu.
Nate? Naturu.
When we see him later, he's practically fluent without writing anything down. And from the way the scenes are edited, it's implied that it's only about an hour or so has passed in between the times we see DJ and Showery in the caves. Absolute genius, this character, I tell you. We quickly cut back to a base camp soldier boy. He's probably got a name. Apparently, according to Prime Video's X-Ray, his name is Riley, who cares? As he's dragged through what we can assume is the interior of the spaceship that landed on the pyramid. And once again, the sets are so impressive. I couldn't stop gushing over the sets while I watched this for my note-taking. I was like a broken record, and I bet Daniel was starting to get annoyed by how many times I mentioned the production value. Sorry, not sorry, it's just so impressive. Like, in my notes, I wrote in all caps, the set of Ra's spaceship. That's how impressed I am with this movie. Once again, the movie has a budget of $55 million, which is around $120 million nowadays with inflation, but it feels like a bigger and better movie than even the 2015 Fantastic Four movie, and that movie's budget back then was $120 million. $157 million now-ish, accounting for inflation. Riley gets dragged up to something that looks like a sarcophagus, but it's all technological-like and just looks awesome. I love the aesthetic of something that looks normal but is in fact fully high-tech. It reminds me of that steampunk feel, but without the steam. I'm not sure if that even has a name. After the tantalizing, mysterious reveal of delicate fingies, we go back to the city and O'Neill and the Soldier Boys finally realize that there's no signal from base camp Soldier Boys, now that the sandstorm is gone. O'Neill asks Kowalski where DJ is, while Skara shows off the lighter to his boys, and Skara sees Kowalski's salute. They'll come back later. O'Neill figures out how to communicate to the natives in his own way, and they use the mastage to track DJ down. We now come back to DJ, Showery, and the cave drawings, and DJ tells O'Neill of the creation story of the people of Abydos. I'll let DJ do it since I don't want to butcher the very unique origin.
I mean, look at this. It says, a traveler from distant stars escaped from a dying world looking for a way to extend his own life. His body decaying and weak, he couldn't prevent his own demise. Apparently his whole species was becoming extinct. So he traveled or searched the galaxies looking for a way to cheat death. And, look here. He came to a world rich with life, where he encountered a primitive race, humans. A species which, with all his powers and knowledge, he could maintain indefinitely. He realized within a human body he had a chance for a new life, Now, he apparently found a young boy. It says, as the frightened villagers ran, night became day. Curious and without fear, he walked towards the light. Ra took him and possessed his body like some kind of a parasite looking for a host. And inhabiting this human form, he appointed himself ruler. He used the Stargate to bring thousands of people here to this planet as workers for the mines. Just like the one we saw. This mineral is clearly the building block of all his technology. With this, he can sustain eternal life. Now, something happened, where is it, back on Earth? A rebellion or uprising, and the Stargate was buried there. Fearful of a rebellion here, Ra outlawed reading and writing.
Note that one of the massive retcons between this movie and the series and the rest of the franchise in general is Ra's alien race. In the movie, in this origin scene, it's shown as a humanoid alien that somehow inhabits a human body to stay alive. But it's made better and more unique in SG-1, I believe, when they change it. And it's pretty cool that DJ literally mentions that Ra was like some sort of parasite looking for a host, because that's what they retconned it to. A snake-like parasitic alien instead of the discount Area 51 humanoid that appears in the movie. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's continue. The soldier boy leads DJ to a tablet that shows 6 of the 7 constellations needed to dial back to Earth, but unfortunately the 7th, the origin point, has faded away. Close but no cigar on leaving the planet. DJ and the soldier boys leave the city to head back to the Stargate, followed comically by Skara and his boys. They're shocked to find the alien spaceship parked comfortably on the pyramid. When they enter the temple, they're confronted by the Horus and Anubis warriors and are quickly taken out, some killed while others were captured. DJ and O'Neill go down to where the Stargate is located, and O'Neill is shocked when he realizes that the nuke has disappeared. Oh no, where did it go? Then we finally get an answer to what the circular vent-like thing on the ceiling was. It's a teleporter. It's pretty neat. Take a look. To be fair, the CG for the mini-rings are a little bit worse than all the other usages of CG so far, but it still works in my opinion. Remember, this was 1994, the year when I was born, and CG technology wasn't that good back then. So it's still impressive what they were actually able to do for the movie. It's not as rough as the Star Wars prequels. DJ and O'Neill meet Ra, and... wait, what's that between his legs? I think it's best if I just move on and ignore it, but I can't unsee it anymore. Now that we get to see more of Ra's spaceship, I have to just reiterate my note from earlier. The set. Just... wow. Ra's slaves bring out the nuke, and that's when DJ realizes the real mission that O'Neill has been sent on.
That's what you were looking for. What the hell were you thinking?
We see that the humanoid Anubis/Horus soldiers are simply humans with fantastic masks, though the reveal is probably the worst use of CG in the whole movie. Though that says a lot about the quality of the movie so far. It's not terrible, but you can tell that the budget was nearly depleted when they did those shots. The masks are changed in SG-1 to be physical masks that are able to extend and contract to reveal the face of its wearer. The guy that they got to play Ra, Jay Davidson, was 25 to 26 years old when the movie was shot, but they looked so young, and I guess pretty is the correct word to use here? He looks uncanny in the movie, and it adds to that mystique of the alien race, considering that, according to the origin story written on the cave walls, the human body that Ra is currently using is technically thousands of years old, yet he still looks like that late teenager look from when the human was possessed. In my opinion, Davidson does a fantastic job playing the aloof, ancient, antagonistic Ra, and he performs his lines perfectly, creating this sense of unease in the viewer as they're unable to reconcile the incongruity between Ra's mannerisms and his seemingly youthful looks. While the guards are distracted and kneel in reverence towards Ra, O'Neill attempts to fight back but is unable to shoot Ra as the brainwashed slave kids huddle around to protect him. This attempt ultimately gets DJ shot dead. We get to experience 2 iconic characteristics of Ra's alien race in his distorted voice and glowing eyes. Iconic, I'll tell you, iconic. I keep getting distracted. Sorry. Third time's the charm. Let's try this speedrun method again, since a lot of things start to happen as we start to ramp up to the end, though there's still like 40-ish minutes to go at this point. Okay, here we go. O'Neill is placed in a watery cell with the rest of his soldier boys that are still alive. Skara and his boys find base camp and the weapons the soldier boys abandoned. Believing that the natives are working on some sort of rebellion against him, Ra sends a couple of death gliders to cause some chaos to the city, leading to many deaths. DJ comes back to life thanks to the sarcophagus and talks to Ra about how he was dead. Okay, I didn't say this earlier, but after the death gliders pew-pews the city, the natives' language is automatically translated to English for the viewers, since our audience surrogate character DJ can now understand the language. It's just a nice touch. I just wanted to mention. Ra explains that human bodies are so easy to repair, hence why he chose them. He notes that humanity has advanced so much that they've harnessed the power of the atom since the ancient Egyptian rebellion. Ra plans to return the nuke back to Earth with some of the alien mineral that would increase its destructiveness by 100-fold. Suck it, Oppenheimer. Ra tells DJ that he'll have to prove to the natives that Ra is their god once more. At the cave, Skara tells Shaori that Ra has ordered a public execution of the soldier boys, and Shaori decide to tell Skara and the boys the truth about their origins. Revolution 2.0, baby. The next day, O'Neill is kinda shocked that DJ is alive. Like what? And instead of executing the soldier boys, DJ turns the staff back towards Ra and his guards, while Shaori, Skara, and his boys start a riot to distract Ra's guards and let our soldier boys to escape capture. A soldier boy dies during this whole meeting. Freeman, I think his name was. I really don't care. They go to the caves in hiding, and unlike Kowalski, who's impressed by the braveness of Skara's boys, O'Neill is still traumatized by his son's death and cannot help but see the boys as what they are, boys. DJ gets O'Neill to reveal that the true reason of the recon mission is to destroy the Abydos Gate if there are any signs of danger.
Track down signs of any possible danger. If I found any, blow up the Stargate.
DJ reveals to the group Ra's plans to send the nuke back. O'Neill is adamant that he would intercept the bomb before Ra sends it back to Earth. Ra is mad that his guards can't find the soldier boys, and O'Neill is sad, and DJ finds out about O'Neill's dead son, which explains a lot about his behavior to him. I love this line by DJ.
I don't want to die. Your men don't want to die. And these people here don't want to die. It's a shame you're in such a hurry to.
Cut to Ra in his magnificent spaceship again, and we get to see the first appearance of the hand device. I don't know if they officially named the tech in the series, since they just refer to it as a hand device, and we get this pretty gruesome death of one of Ra's top guards, since the soldier boys still haven't been found yet. Back at the camp, all of Skara's boys tease DJ, and he finds out that he is apparently married to Shaori. I mean, the scene in the private tent earlier with her taking her clothes off kind of seemed like a sort of marriage ritual, consummating your marriage type of thing. Shaori has not told the rest of the natives that she and DJ has not consummated their marriage, embarrassed that DJ seemed to be unattracted to her, but our boy DJ smooches her to show that he does find her attractive. Lucky guy. I'm so lonely. The next morning, Skara is drawing a picture of the day of our victory, and DJ finally figures out the point of origin symbol to dial back to Earth. Hooray! We then see Skara, his boys, and the soldier boys trap a Horus guard and take him out, revealing to Kasuf and the others that the soldiers that they have been serving as their god is just a human like them. The Horus guard's arm being positioned that way kind of makes it look like he wants to ask the teacher a question. At this point in the movie, I had written, Ra's fit here is kind of fetch.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Loving it. Anyway, we're on the home stretch now, boys. O'Neill and our soldier boys try to infiltrate the temple by disguising themselves as miners delivering the mineral shipment for Ra's plans. The nuke is moved from Ra's spaceship to the temple's gate room. Unfortunately, only half of the soldier boys and Skara's boys manage to get into the temple, while the other half fight outside against the death gliders we saw earlier. Ra is molding and sends his Anubis guard down to dial the gate to Earth to send the nuke without the minerals. O'Neill, DJ, and Shaori manage to make it to the nuke, and O'Neill starts to activate the nuke. O'Neill is adamant to stay back on Abydos and set off the nuke, while DJ and the soldier boys dismantle the gate on Earth to prevent any danger from reaching there. A Horus guard shoots Shaori and she dies. DJ kills the guard in retaliation, and we're all very sad that Shaori is now dead. DJ uses the mini rings to teleport to Ra's ship, while Anubis guard goes down to the temple. DJ tells O'Neill to wait for him. Anubis guard and O'Neill fight as DJ rushes to place Shaori in the sarcophagus to revive her. With only 4 minutes to go, things seem bleak for our boys outside as, oh wait, I hadn't introduced this guy yet. Skara's best bud Nabe gets killed by the gliders. Rip Nabe, I guess. Kowalski decides to surrender to the Horus guards, and Shaori is healed, though she's not conscious yet. Ra notices DJ carrying Shaori to the mini rings, and obviously has not watched Gladiators yet.
Are you not entertained?
They wait for the century.
Ra proceeds to torture DJ. With just over 2 minutes left, O'Neill finally gets the power-up of friendship and overwhelms the Anubis guard, beheading the guard by calling the mini-rings down and transporting DJ and Shari back into the temple. This was a cool moment because when DJ and O'Neill was captured earlier, O'Neill notices that the Anubis guard controls the mini-rings with the gauntlet that he wears, and we get to see a single lingering shot on the blue jewel on the gauntlet. So he uses it in this moment. It was a nice callback, like the sarcophagus, or like the introduction to the mini-rings with that single shot of the ceiling, and shows that once again, O'Neill is not just a dumb grunt, but he's smart too, in his own way. This movie is so cool. The bomb is finally less than 2 minutes off from exploding, and when he attempts to turn it off, O'Neill realizes that it's been tampered by Ra, as Kowalski, Ferretti, that's the name of the other soldier, and Skara and his boys are about to be executed by the Horus guards. Kasuf comes to the rescue with the literal thousands of natives. The moment is cliche, but still cool. Also, those physical Horus masks must have been so hot to wear on location. Ra is now real mad that there's been a second revolution against him, so he tries to ding-dong ditch out of there. Back in the temple, as the countdown nears 30 seconds, both DJ and O'Neill get the same idea of how to deal with the bomb, now agreeing with each other to show how much they've grown as characters since their first meeting where they had a disagreement. It's a nice writing.
I've got an idea.
And they use the mini rings to send the bomb to Ra's spaceship before it gets too far and the ship explodes, killing Ra. Yay! Oh, and one thing that I didn't mention earlier is that Ra's face glows at certain points of the movie instead of just his eyes, and in his final moments we get to see Ra's previous humanoid form appear on his face in the glow. I guess that since they completely changed the nature of Ra's race in SG-1 from the discount Martian humanoid to a snake-like parasite, the TV show creators didn't find it necessary to have the whole face glow anymore, sticking only with the glowing eyes and distorted voice. The practical effect of Ra being swept away by the nuke looked cool, very Indiana Jones and the Ark of Truth. Is it Ark of Truth? No. Whatever. That movie with the Nazi faces melting. Really cool. Which is another point in favor of practical effects. Seeing that O'Neill and our soldier boys succeeded in killing Ra, Skara then proceeds to salute to O'Neill, instinctively understanding the meaning behind the gesture. DJ gets to kiss Shaori again? Lucky guy. We cut to later, and O'Neill shakes Skara's hand. This time, Skara does not run away.
I always knew you'd get us back.
Yeah, right.
The comical 180 that the soldier boys have on DJ is funny, and I guess explains why they had to have that earlier scene that felt a little bit out of place when they were mad at DJ. Before he leaves, O'Neill asks if he's sure that he wants to stay on Abydos and asks if he would be alright. DJ says he will be and asks O'Neill the same question. After all that he's been through on Abydos, he's surprised himself when he says that he will also be okay.
How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Before O'Neill leaves, DJ gives O'Neill Catherine's amulet and asks him to tell her the amulet gave him good luck. And O'Neill agrees and says to Daniel Jackson that he will see him around before stepping through the gate.
I'll be seeing you around. Dr. Jackson?
And as we see the traveling graphics one final time, we arrive at the end of the movie. Firstly, I'd like to apologize for waffling on about this movie for so long. Currently, the script is at 17 pages long, so I promise to wrap it up somewhat quickly, or try to. Be rest assured that once we get to SG-1, since there are so many episodes to go through, instead of just a 1-2 hour film, I will be much more succinct in the recap. There's just so many things about the movie and the series that I feel I should talk about, and I get into tangents about it all instead of focusing on just the recap. Anyway, I hope that through whatever this video ends up being, some sort of abomination of half analysis, half recap, and part attempted comedy set or whatever, I hope that I've been able to communicate to you how much I like this movie. Though it is basically a B-grade movie with a plot that is so paper thin you can punch a hole through it with your finger, the world building and mythology building paired with its immensely impressive production value carries the whole thing to make it a wonderfully fun action-adventure film. The film had mixed reviews upon release, with critics both praising and criticizing things such as its atmosphere, story, and characters. But at the end of the day, it was still considered commercially successful. The writers of the film, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, apparently always envisioned the film to be the first of a trilogy. In 2006, according to what I read on Wikipedia, Devlin said that the second film in the trilogy would be set around 12 years after the first and use a different mythology than Egyptian, with the third movie revealing that all ancient mythologies are actually tied together, which does remind me of that moment in God of War 2018 where it implied that there were multiple gods of war based on different mythologies, with the original Greek Omega, the Eye of Ra for the Egyptian mythos, and the Triskelion to signify Celtic mythology. And of course, as shown in the game's 2022 sequel, Ragnarok, Tyr appears as the Nordic god of war. It's a really cool concept to imagine about, though at this point in time of the Devlin quote, 2006-ish, SG-1 was starting its 10th and final season, and Atlantis was in its 3rd season. It seemed like the originally planned movie trilogy would have been treated like events of an alternate universe, as it would have differed too greatly with the continuity that grew out of the TV shows. The concept of the hidden unification of ancient mythologies is kind of touched upon in later seasons of SG-1, with the introduction of several Ra contemporaries such as Baal, Cronus, Hera, and even Yu Huang Shang-Ti, as well as the move from Egyptian mythology to Arthurian mythology for seasons 9 and 10 of SG-1. At the end of the day, if I were to attempt to give this movie an unbiased rating, with 5 being pure averageness, I would have to give this movie a 7 out of 10, maybe a high 6 if I were to be a bit more conservative. It's nowhere near perfection, but it sure is a whole lot of whimsy. It managed to kickstart a massive, decade-spanning franchise with dedicated fans to this day wishing for its eventual return. A convention, I think it's called GateCon, that's started in 2000 and is still going to this day. Stargate SG-1 will proceed to be the longest running North American sci-fi series on TV in 2006 during its 10th season, and was only overtaken by Smallville in its final season in 2011. Smallville being another one of those seminal TV shows that I grew up watching, and I am planning on doing a series on that TV show as well at some point. What was the point of this video again? I'm not entirely sure. I guess I just wanted to talk about the movie after watching it again after all this time. Now that I've done that, I'm feeling kind of empty. I guess I'll just start watching Stargate SG-1 to fill that hole again. Thank you so much for listening. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one.